What is up, folks? Just for this week's video, I'm doing it kind of quick, doing it kind of handheld. It's going to be fun. I learned how to make a new thing on the Traeger this week, and it's really good, and it's really keto. And I've never really liked these things before. Country style ribs, I should just say it's not a mystery. I'm cooking country style ribs. I never liked them before on charcoal grill or in an oven or anything else because they always seem to be really tough. But I asked around. Like I said, I've said before, all my recipes come from people's advice. And I asked around, like, how do you cook these on the Traeger? And they said, just do it like this, such and such and such. Here's the temperature. Watch for the internal temp. I'm like, all right. So I gave it one run, and I was obsessed. That's been about 3 days ago when I gave it the first run. Here it is, obviously 3 days later, and I bought a new batch of them. I got a little more this time. The first batch I had came with about six cuts of ribs in it. That was enough to give it a trial run, but still hungry. Country style ribs aren't really ribs at all. They're just the end of a cut of a Boston butt. Just sliced real thin and sold as an extra cut of meat by the meat processor. At any rate, here is how I learned to recently make country style ribs. And the first thing we're going to do is make a dry rub. Let's go to the kitchen. And like I said, this isn't going to be really fancy. I didn't even set up the full camera setup. And just here's all the ingredients, and I'm just going to show you how to make them one by one. This is the standard stuff. Everybody's got this in their house, and if they don't, they're $5 away from it. It's not expensive, not hard at all. Step 1. 1 tablespoon of garlic powder. 1 tablespoon of paprika. 1 tablespoon of onion powder. I'm about out of it. 1 tablespoon of kosher salt. 1 tablespoon of black pepper. 1 tablespoon of Tony's Creole seasoning. And a half teaspoon of chili powder. Take your dry rub mixture and kind of stir it up until it is well mixed in. It should just look like a seasoned salt. Basically all you're making. Just a really heavy duty seasoned salt. Next you'll take your country style ribs out of the package. Put them in a big bowl. Coat fairly liberally with some olive oil. You want it to all be all over it. And coat with your dry rub. Just kind of pour that in there. You'll mix it up better later. You're going to mix them up really, really well. That's what they'll look like. And coated good, about like if you ever made jerky, it looks about like that. Next, you'll take them and put them in the fridge for about an hour to 45 minutes just to let everything seep in before cooking. Alright, right out here on the back porch, about to turn the smoker on. The first thing we gotta do is make sure the old Traeger has enough pellets, though. So now we are smoking for about 45 minutes to an hour, just to include preheating. So I'm gonna put another little bit in there. I think I'll go ahead and add the rest of this bag. Doing everything one-handed. My friends will be like, won't you use both hands? Now that wood in there the amount in there probably would have been good for our time to cook, but if you don't want to run out, I mean that's just, plus this is pretty much watertight. I mean it's been out here during a tornado and it hasn't leaked yet. And right now I'm using Traeger brand hickory pellets. Here's a moment of truth. Turn this bad boy on. Up to 350, about 350. I want to let you know that I'm using a Traeger to do this because I like it to taste barbecued, smoked. But if you used a oven, you wouldn't get the smoky taste, but the tenderness and the dry rub would still be just the same. So I think an oven would be almost as good. So if you don't have a Traeger or a smoker, you can use an oven. It'll be just fine. They'll be good and tasty and tender. All right, trying to put our country style ribs on the smoker. Now I like to use tongs. mentioned it before, I like to use tongs on a barbecue. The reason I don't hardly ever have any clean is I'm out here smoking so much. Try to set them as close to the center as you can, because closer to the outside they are on these traegers, they burn because the flame will come up over that lip. And these country style ribs ain't nothing but pieces of the end of a Boston butt. See, they're vaguely in the shape of a rib. You can about eat them like a rib. I think that's why they call them that. They're not really a rib at all. They barely have any bones in them. Just little chips at the ends of bones. Alright. I'm going to leave them like that for about 30 to 45 minutes. I'll check them at about 35 minutes and see if they're up to 10. Close it. Alright, they are all sitting at about $1.50, $1.60. I'm going to put them in foil. And put them in the house, covering in foil for about 10 or 15 minutes before I eat them. So let it, let the flavor spread, let the heat make them all the way done for the ones that are still in the 50s. You do want to take these out in the 50s, low 60s, and let them sit for about 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes in this foil. Believe it or not, it does make a world of difference. Then dig in. Alright, now these bad boys are done. Let's fork one and give it a shot. This one's got a lot of fat on it. As you can see, they're perfectly done, even though I took them out in the 150s. They were on there about 40 minutes. Probably could have taken them off 5 minutes sooner. Got a good little smoke ring. That is good stuff. I'll put the full process in the description. Just give it a check. Anyway, hit me up next week and like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching.